Well, I believe that there is some differences between the creatures that are reported in the Pacific Northwest versus what is reported in other parts of the country. And a lot of that has to do with nothing more than just, any animals, depending on climate and environment and terrain, are going to adapt to their surroundings. The white-tailed deer up in Ohio and Pennsylvania are probably twice as big as the ones we have down here, just because there's no need for an animal to be that bulky down south in the hotter climate than up in a colder climate. And I believe the same is probably true of the Bigfoot creatures, that the ones in the Pacific Northwest are probably a lot bigger, well, bulkier anyway. The ones down south, I feel that, are probably height-wise along the same lines, but, don't have the need for the bulk of, say, what is shown in the Patterson film. They're a lot leaner and more muscular, I think. In the areas that we're researching, we are finding five-toed tracks that resemble what is found in the Pacific Northwest. There's other areas of the South where there are three-toed tracks, four-toed tracks found. I don't know. It may be genetics. It may be once again to do with the terrain that they've adapted to be suitable for the terrain that they are inhabiting. The creatures in the South also are reported to have more aggressive behavior than the ones in the Pacific Northwest. I've never gotten a first-hand account of anybody that has been harmed, injured by one of these animals. I think that as far as aggression, you might get a bluff charge, like typical with primates, that defending their territory, just trying to scare someone out of the area as opposed to actually attacking somebody. I've never gotten a credible report of anybody being attacked.
If we're looking at the differences as well as the similarities between the generic American Bigfoot, we see a real division between what I call the Pacific Northwest cases, the classic Bigfoot, that some ways spill a little bit over into the northern eastern area. It's generally a creature that's upright, 7 foot tall, is kind of gentle, and yet then into the south and the southeast we have two kinds of situations going on here. The more upright creatures tend to be very aggressive, kill dogs, terrorize humans, and really are a kind of geographic race of Bigfoot that is in some ways looks like the Pacific Northwest Bigfoot, but is much more aggressive and nasty. In addition, an overlay is these anthropoids, these chimpanzee, orangutan-like apes that I call the North American apes or the napes, the skunk apes, the swamp apes, the boogers, that are really much, much different. And that confuses people because we have a situation where it's hard enough to believe there's one Bigfoot, but to think that there's two kinds of creatures in the South really boggles the mind. We're talking about very small numbers, but because there's such high populations in the South, you have many more reports than sometimes in the Pacific Northwest where there's more wilderness.
Some people say, well, Bigfoot's aggressive. One thing's for certain, if Bigfoot were really a nuisance, look at the tigers in India. What have we done? We've almost eradicated tigers because tigers occasionally kill people. All Bigfoot has to do to become truly extinct, if it exists, is to kill somebody. If Bigfoot can ever be associated with actually killing a human being, I guarantee you there will be millions spent on eradicating him.
This is getting interesting because you're asking me a question about unknown, variables. We haven't proved that any of them are real. I try to keep that in mind as I do this, although I do believe that they do exist. Typical reports are different. Is that in the Pacific Northwest has 5 toes. There are 5-toed tracks reported in the southern U.S., but a lot of the ones reported in the South have 3 toes and 4 toes, which is very unusual. Also, the ones in the South tend to be aggressive. You hear of a lot more aggressive reports, longer hair, a little more slumped over walk. And even heard people talk about them walking on all fours, like a gorilla, which is very interesting. I have a theory about this. I think that these animals can go on all fours, and that's how they get through a lot of the thickets and things they do. Even the ones in the Pacific Northwest may have the potential to do this. The difference is there are a lot of bears in the Pacific Northwest. Someone sees a hairy animal on 4 legs walking through the woods, you're going to think it's a bear. And in the South there are bears, but not nearly as many. So that may be the reason you don't have a lot of reports of quadrupedal primates up there, is because bears are so common. So that could be their kind of hiding way. And in the South, you do have reports of this kind of stuff. So those are the chief differences. Also, there seems to be more variance in coloration. You got a lot of people reporting gray animals in the South, a few blonde colored, just got different things going on. And once again, we're all dealing with unknown variables. They could all be BS, I don't know. But I do believe that there are key differences, and it could be an example of a subspecies,